detective. Will you wed my daughter and carry on for me when I am gone?
The answer is still no.
These videos are not for children. If you're a children, then piss off.
Hey there, it's me, your least favorite YouTuber, the Infuso. And in the past, I spoke about my disdain for the bat-on-bat action going on in the Batcave. Well, today, I'm here to talk about something not too different, one I hate almost as much, the Batman and Talia al Ghul romance, which I think is one of the most long-standing trash fires in hero history. It has been a fixture of the lore for quite some time, and I, for the life of me, cannot understand why. I have never understood the need to push this pairing. We're not even talking about a relationship where you can make a pros and cons list. They're all just cons. I don't see any pros. I'm not even talking about the fact that the two fall on complete opposite sides of the law and morals. A relationship between a hero and a villain is always going to be a little bit tumultuous, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's always going to be bad. Look at the much more successful couple of Batman and Catwoman. Bruce and Selina, despite their differences, complement each other very well. They know that they're different, and they don't let their differences get in the way of their love. Some of the time. They really do feel like perfect partners. And even if they on occasion butt heads or have different end goals, together, they're still a team. Except for the times that they're not. But you know, like, still. I don't get any of that from Bruce and Talia. I never felt that they worked all that well together. They seem like two entirely different entities that are forced together either through Talia's father's grand plan or terrible forced writing. Mostly both. I don't know, the two just don't share any kind of chemistry. I'm not talking about any particular actors in the role either. I'm talking about the actual roles themselves. Out of all of the various versions of these two, I've honestly never seen one that felt authentic. Their flirtations seem forced, which apparently is a word that I'm going to be using a lot in this video. Their moments together are usually pretty far and few between. Most of the screen time the two shared together over the years has put much more emphasis on them fighting than them actually being a couple. I really don't see whatever it is that binds these two together. Their love, if you could call it that, definitely seems very manufactured. They don't feel like a legitimate couple. I could never truly see the love shared between them, and in some ways, it actually feels like the prospect of love might be beneath Talia to begin with. She's the second in command of the League of Assassins, a deadly warrior who is a master of manipulation like her father before her. You want me to believe that that person just suddenly developed real and genuine feelings toward this man? This man that her father just so happens to be setting her up with? This man that her father sees as a protege and wants him to take over his mantle? Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of a tough sell. First things first, the two coming together as one is a part of Ra's al Ghul's plan. Ra's wants Bruce to take Talia's hand in marriage and lead his army, become the new figurehead of the League of Assassins and the new Demon's Head, to which Batman obviously declines. Multiple times over. Despite this doesn't stop Ra's or Talia from continually trying. They try different schemes, approach Batman from all different angles. Just based on that information alone, I have a really hard time buying that Batman would still court Talia. It just doesn't make sense to me. Because it doesn't make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense that Batman would do it. You mean to tell me that Batman, who is an extremely jaded and skeptical individual, someone who is often referred to as the world's greatest detective, would just mindlessly go along with Talia? How could a highly intelligent man with such severe trust issues come to trust the daughter of the Demon's Head? I'm sorry, but it just feels so wildly out of character for Batman. It doesn't matter how many times this plot point is recycled, it never sat right with me. I think it makes Batman look really naive and kinda stupid. Which, in of itself, is pretty stupid. It doesn't make anybody look good here. If Batman is so foolish as to continue to pursue a villainess who is literally just trying to either get him in the throne or get a hair out of him...
You're thinking with your head.
I am not thinking with my head.
Yes, you are.
No, I just think that
Put your head away.
she's an emotional,
Jim.
interesting, caring girl.
Jimmy, that's your head talking.
Can he really be trusted to run the League of Assassins? If it's this simple to get one over on the Caped Crusader, why bother? You know, he's clearly not meant for this place. He's easy to conquer and manipulate. If you just throw beautiful women his way long enough, eventually he'll take the bait. And if Batman can be so easily persuaded, then it makes one of the smartest and most strategic crime fighters look like a total goof. It's so hard to talk about this because I hate it from so many different angles. I think Batman should be above this, and I even think that the League, like Ra's al Ghul and Talia, should know that Batman is above this. If they don't believe that he's above this, I don't know why they would see him as leader material. But if they think that he is above this, then why would they be trying to tempt him all the time? I just hate this any way that I look at it. Like, I can look at a picture of Talia and Batman together, and I can find 12 things wrong with it in the first 2.5 seconds. Also, I think because of the background of this relationship, and how it essentially boils down to a one-sided arranged marriage, shouldn't Batman be second-guessing all of this? How does Bruce even know if this woman truly loves him? He has no real way of knowing. She's essentially been groomed since birth to obey her father's wishes for the alleged greater good of the universe. Bruce has to realize this on some level. He knows what the demon's head is like, what his plans were, and how devoted his followers are. Talia has basically been brainwashed all her life into becoming her father's right-hand man. Woman. How does Bruce know that she loves him for any other reason than her father told her she has to? How does Batman know if her intentions are pure? If there's genuine love or feeling past obligations to be with him? How could he truly know that he isn't just playing into an Al Ghul trap every time his beloved bats her eyes at him? For me personally, I think these factors would play into the Dark Knight's thought process. Not even just for his own safety or as a means of not letting enemies get one over on him, but also because there's a moral implication there too, sort of. I don't think it really needs to be said, but you probably shouldn't sleep with someone just because their parent really wants you to. Wait, what were the words that just came out of my mouth? On top of that, there's the case of Damian Wayne. The child of the two characters in question. Son of Batman and Talia, grandson of Ra's al Ghul. Damian's mere existence is a constant reminder of this unholy union. It is forever embedded deep within the roots of this canon because Damian exists. So that makes me hate it that much more. I will now have to constantly be reminded of one of the worst pairings in comic book history every time I see that dweeb. So thank you for that. These two conflicting parents clashing leads to some serious character development for Damian over time, and it helps him step out of both his parents' shadows to become his own character with his own moral code. But this isn't really about him so much as it is a means to his existence. Now, details vary depending on which continuity you're reading, but it's outright stated in some that Batman wasn't necessarily a consensual party in his conception. I'm not even allowed to tell you what Talia did to Batman without getting demonetized. If I was actually trying to explain what she did, I would have to use code words. With that being said, eliminating the letter R from my next sentence, Talia dugged and aped Batman. You figure out where that letter goes in that. This man is now fathering a child he didn't even agree to help make, let alone raise. And I think it's actions like this that really undercut this pairing as a whole. Because it's not like Batman and Talia are always written to be seen as negative. Sometimes they're written as star-crossed lovers, which is unbearably eye-rolling every time I see it. Keep in mind, this couple in some stories are written to be the ones that you want to root for. The people you want to see make it through these obstacles and defy the odds. And then Talia went and did that. It's Talia's truly villainous nature that makes it really hard for me to believe them as an item. I've had to look the other way at some truly out there behavior in relationships too to keep the peace, but there's a limit to it. World domination should be enough of a red flag that you at least go on a break and maybe think things over. Because if you can look past that, I mean, what can't you look past? I guess what I'm trying to say is, I don't think Batman and Talia work because Talia doesn't have sympathetic or redeemable qualities. Let's once again compare her to Catwoman. Catwoman is often portrayed as a villain because she's a criminal and a thief. But Catwoman doesn't want to go out of her way to cause harm to the innocent. I mean, look, she's not beyond violent revenge, but she wouldn't just harm somebody without good cause. While she has done bad things, she's very obviously not a bad person. Which is why over the last decade or so, she's made a full-on transition to anti-hero. Despite her unconventional profession and occasional selfish ways, Selina has a lot of good qualities to her. You could see the humanity break through her persona. Her vulnerability and genuine love for Bruce are evident, whether she's wearing a mask or trying to mask how she feels. There is none of that with Talia. I don't think I've ever seen a really good example of the character being humanized. I always felt that Catwoman kinda dialed her personality up to 11 when in costume, and tried her best to cover up anything that can be considered a weakness, using her unmatched confidence. She wasn't a bad guy, she was just somebody who was a little bad.
I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way.
Talia always just felt bad. Very. She was a bad guy doing bad things for what she thought was the greater good. She didn't share Bruce's compassion, his empathy, his morals. They had next to nothing in common. And it's hard to see where those two could connect and form any kind of a bond at all. I think a big part of this is because of how largely underwritten Talia is in a lot that she appears in. She never really feels like a person, she just feels like her father's pawn. She's almost never felt like a character and almost always feels like an accessory. In Batman stories, Talia is Ra's al Ghul's daughter and Batman's girlfriend. That's all that she is. She's another character's plus one into the story. Even if you are somewhat a fan of this relationship, and honestly speaking, I've never met anybody who was, you have to admit that this can't hold a candle to a lot of Batman's other shippings. Catwoman, Wonder Woman, Zatanna, Silver St. Cloud, Chase Meridian, Rachel Dawes, Julie Madison, Vicky Vale, all of them. All of them. I put all of them over this relationship any day of the week. Even that one time he bat-boned Black Canary in front of a pile of burning corpses, that was still a better love story than Batman and Talia. The only, and I mean this, the only coupling that I would ever put this over is Batman and Batgirl. And that's it. Do you know there was only one time ever where I thought they did a good job of showcasing them as an item? And that was in the Arkham series. Their interactions weren't all that cringeworthy. Batman seems especially standoffish and skeptical despite Talia being more than willing to help. Their interactions are brief, but a history between the two is spoken of and it's clear that there's still interest there. And that's it. Honestly, that's not even that great. It's just okay. And that's the best it's ever been. Just okay. It's not great. It's not even good. But it is okay. That's the best you could hope for with Bruce and Talia. Something that is just tolerable. So what have we learned today? The relationship between the two doesn't have a real spark. They were set up by Talia's father, who wants to use his daughter as a means to lure Batman to the dark side. It is questionable if Talia's feelings are true, or if she's even capable enough to have such feelings. Batman chasing after her makes it look like he's just a guy who drops old morals when he starts thinking with the wrong head. And Talia did a very bad thing to a very bad person and created the second worst Robin. I could go on from there, but I really don't think that I need to. I am not a fan of this pairing. I have never been a fan of this pairing, and I've never really met fans of this pairing. So if you're out there, why? That's an actual question, and it does require an answer. I will wait. But with all that being said, if you like this video and would like to see a video about Batman and Catwoman's romance, let me know in the comment section below by leaving a comment saying,
The Bat and the Cat.
I was your least favorite YouTuber, Infuso, and I thank you for watching. Hope to see you in the next one.
I am vengeance. I am the night, and that was Infuso. Just remember, if you're not tuning in, then you're missing out.
So, if you like the words that came out of his mouth hole, and you too would like to become a V-generate, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, nerds!
And if you're not joining the fun, you're in for one bad day. And you know what they say about having one bad day?
Catch him next time. Same bat time. Same bat channel.
I went back to the afterlife to check on Talia, and, well, we got to talking about how you basically murdered us both. Before I knew it, one thing led to another, and, you know.
Hey, yo, what the